What is up, everybody? Holy wow. So apparently, all you people here have been subscribing to this channel or something, and we hit over 50,000. What? Like, what? Cool, man. And so, you know, I'd like to offer a really big thanks to you guys. I mean, you guys are just the best. I mean, like, you know, it's probably cheesy, you know, you guys hear that all the time, but for real, like, I obviously wouldn't be here doing this stuff without you guys, etc. So I came up with a little list of things that I appreciate about the things that you guys do. Well, of course, all the comments and the feedback, you know, to make this channel better is very helpful for me. And, you know, it's kind of like a conversation that we're all having. I really appreciate the support that you've given through likes, shares, and subscribings, the DMs, and all the good stuff. Because, you know, if it wasn't for the sharing and like letting other people know about the channel and about the videos and tutorials, there would be zero growth. And of course, all the messages and the conversations that I'm having with you guys on Snapchat and Facebook and Instagram, and also in the comment section here. And I think there's this one thing that really stands out to me and makes me happy, and it's when you guys are jumping in the comments and helping each other with answering questions and you know, pointing things out and being able to be there for other people, because not every new subscriber knows where to find the brushes. So really, I really appreciate when you guys are talking to each other and, you know, helping each other out and answering questions for me, because I just don't have the time to go in there and do it all the time for everybody, because I'm answering questions elsewhere. I'm doing my own stuff, personal art. I'm mostly just actually playing Overwatch. Anyway, so 50,000 and onward. I look forward to seeing where all of this goes. It's only going to get better. Of course, these things always get better. And it's so crazy to think that I guess I've had this channel up and running. I mean, I've had it for 8 years, but I you know, kind of restarted it about a year ago, and it's come a pretty far ways, you know. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about editing and whatever, and how to talk and how to communicate to you guys, and, you know, with the feedback, figuring out what we like, what we don't like. And thanks again for joining along the ride, you know. And to add to that, today is actually Eid. For the, you know, as a Muslim, I fasted for the 30 days. Basically, we don't eat during the day until sundown, and yesterday was the last day, and this is the first day where we're back to normal, and I can eat during the day, which is awesome. And so Eid Mubarak to my fellow brothers and sisters, wherever you might be, and, you know, just happy times to everyone, whether you're, you know, religious or not, whatever. I'm not going to talk too much about religion here, but this was a rough Ramadan for me, but I couldn't keep up with everything that I wanted to do, but here we go. So anyway, moving forward, what I do want to talk about is motivation. You know, my friend Martin, who I worked with over at ArenaNet, sent me this pretty cool link, and I'll put the link in the description. And it talks about, you know, productivity, you know, and we are all talking about this idea of motivation. Like, how do I get motivated? Where do I find motivation? How do you get motivated, Ahmed Aldoori? How did you come up with the chicken guy? That was so blah, blah, blah. Only a few people will know what that's referring to. But, you know, motivation, as described in the article, is just a feeling. And, you know, because it's a feeling, it fluctuates. So it's not always going to be there. Not everybody is constantly motivated. And the answer to that, you know, the solution is, instead of seeking motivation, it's far more effective if you just show up and do the work no matter what. And this is also my other friend, Paul Richards. He's an excellent, wonderful draftsman. You know, he hosts these cool sketch nights, and it's really cool. I always feel energized artistically when I'm hanging out with these artists. And anyway, he lent me this book called The War of Art, and not to be confused with the other book, The Art of War. This book is about the resistance that we have when we're trying to make art. And, like, of course, it mentions things like motivation and all that stuff. And the key, of course, was to just show up and do the work anyway. And actually, when you do that, when you just show up and start doing, what happens is you end up trusting the process. In a way, you're trusting what they call, in some Greek culture, history, muses. Like, every artist had a muse. The artist wasn't making art. Instead, he was kind of entrusting the process into this kind of mythical being, and through that, stuff happens. They start making art, but they don't feel like it's not like they're taking credit for the work. They just kind of give the credit to the muse, and that's kind of the thing here. Similarly, where you kind of trust the process. You just sit down and start without worrying about motivation, without worrying about trying to do the next big thing. Oh my God. But rather, it's just, you sit down, you start making brush strokes or pencil strokes, and of course, the first, at least for me, the first 30 to 40 minutes is just rubbish. It's totally rubbish, do you know what I mean? And so, you just get past that, and suddenly it's not about you anymore. It's not about your ego. You just kind of let go of all that stuff, and your artwork just happens. You just kind of put stuff down, and your instincts and your intuition reacts to those things, and you keep adding, subtracting, making things, and then a couple hours go by, and then you kind of just wake up from this not delirium, but like this dream state that you have when you're really in the zone, doing all the artwork. By the way, this video, what you're seeing is just kind of like, there's really no purpose or intent. It was just kind of sketching, throwing in some color, and drawing a couple faces. I think it's kind of my go-to face that I've been drawing. As I'm seeing this, I kind of want to change it up and try out different faces. Like, it's just anyway. When you just see the same kind of proportions all the time, we get desensitized, and it kind of loses its novelty and interest. Anyway, so yeah, let me go back to this article real quick. So yeah, I'm gonna just read a quote from the article, back to the motivation thing. And there's a painter named Chuck Close, and he says that he's never had a painter's block in his whole life. And in an interview, he says, "Inspiration is for amateurs. The rest of us just show up and get to work. And the belief that things will grow out of the activity itself, and that you will, through work, bump into other possibilities and kick open other doors that you would never have dreamt of if you were just sitting around looking for a great idea or motivation. And the belief that process, in a sense, is liberating, and that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every day. Today, you know what you'll do. You could be doing what you were doing yesterday, and tomorrow you're going to do what you did today. And at least for a certain period of time, you can just work. If you hang in there, you will get somewhere." So yeah, to add to that, I mean, when you trust the process, all these other possibilities that you never would have expected and opening new doors happen, because like I said earlier, you act and react, and you discover, and you approach it in a way with a sense of wonder. You're not trying to plan every single little nook and cranny, ahead of time. Even if you listen to an interview that I heard the other day with Mike Mignola, who made Hellboy. The interview was about what was his process for coming up with Hellboy, and it was his first comic that he came up with entirely on his own. That he invented. Of course, he did work with a writer, but it was mostly him. But it's very daunting to just make up a whole new world with all new characters, and world building is a whole different ball game, So, the interviewer asked, like, did you have everything planned out? Did you know exactly what everything happened? And he's like, no. He had an idea of what was in the world, and he had this main character that he loved to draw, and he had a couple landmark things that were happening in the story and some landmark areas, and he just started there, and he allowed the story to build upon that. But if he tried to plan everything ahead of time, and reinvent the wheel with every single plan without allowing that space for possibilities to happen, then it wouldn't have become the awesomeness of Hellboy the way it is today. And so yeah, this is kind of just not it's not just for drawing, but for story. And he's also an artist, but he wrote the story, so or he came up with the idea of it. So world building, design, illustration, songwriting, all of this stuff. You just show up and get to work. And when I say work, I don't mean it in a pejorative sense, as in like it's not a negative thing, but show up and let go of this idea that you're supposed to be inspired or motivated, but rather just put the pencil to the paper and let something happen. And like I always say this, like the first few drawings, the first hour or so is going to be a warm-up. It's not going to be your best work. Even when you're studying, it's not going to be your best work right away. And I've tested this, and I actually recorded something to prove it. And what I wanted to figure out is okay, my first 5 minutes of drawings look like this, and then like that, and then after a half hour they look like this. I'll have to put that together. It takes a long time to edit some of these videos, but it's to prove that that you start off and it's just going to be right, and then as the time goes by, it's going to improve. But the saddest part of that whole thing is the moment I go to sleep and wake up, it restarts. I have to start all over again in terms of warming up. It's just going to suck right at the beginning, and then time passes, and yeah. Anyway, so once again, thank you all who have subscribed, liked, and shared, and commented, and just been a part of this growth. And it's not the biggest channel in the world, but it's like, hey, I got a voice on here. I'm going to use it, spread my ideas and share with you guys and help you guys out, and you guys help me out. It's been a pretty fun little conversation, and you guys are all pretty cool. You're all fellow artists out there, students wanting to make stuff, and we're all kind of in this together. It's a big group of creative fun, not to sound all cheesy. Anyway, thank you for over 50K. Let's keep this going, and all right, we'll see you again very, very soon, in a brand new video, very new, very coming up. I can't speak. It's like I'm just so excited. My words are jumbled. Whatever. Anyway, I finally switched to the PC version of Overwatch, and I have 7 loot boxes, and I'm not going to open them until I have 20 guys. Click.